So everyone should understand that there's that trust account. There's ways to make small deposits and large deposits. All of them require giving. So if you're going into a relationship, that relationship's going to have a trust account that you need to make regular deposits in. And if you're not making deposits, you can't make withdrawals.
You're a man living in the modern world in a time when men and manhood are not what they once were. You live life on your own terms. You're self-sufficient. You think for yourself and you march to the beat of your own drum. When life knocks you down, you get back up because in your gut, you know that's what men do. You're a badass and a warrior. And on the days when you forget, we are here to remind you who you really are.
Welcome to Sovereign Man Podcast, where we aim to make men masculine again. I'm your man, Nicky Billou. I'm here with my man, Rob Arpa. Welcome, Arps.
Thanks, brother.
So, brother, let's talk a bit about entitlement versus gratitude. So, there's a lot of men today that have a communist mindset, by which I mean an entitled mindset. And men who have a capitalist mindset have a gratitude mindset.
Yes.
So, would you talk to me about what is the definition of an entitlement mindset versus a gratitude mindset?
Yeah. So I think to put it in as plain English as possible, entitlement is the mindset of someone that thinks they deserve something. Right? And I get this a lot with my business too. I get young employees that think they deserve, these higher pay rates and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the market conditions they're experiencing, but at the same time, someone with zero proven skill sets can't really. They're like technically they're not entitled to anything. So it's like an automatic qualification for benefit. You know what I'm saying? Is that clear to you? Whereas gratitude, what the automatic entitlement to benefit. Yeah, that's like someone that thinks that they should receive something of value for nothing, which technically, I guess,
even if they haven't earned it, is what you're trying to say here, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's unearned. They think that just because they were, born or migrated to a certain country, that there's benefits they should receive just for the sake of being there. And I think that's like the whole socialist / communist
mindset
platform is that everybody is equal, when in actuality, that's not really
not what they're saying. They're not saying everybody's equal. They're saying everybody deserves equal results.
The same. Well, right? That's the false premise, right?
Like before God, we're all equal, but we don't all deserve equal results in life. You deserve the results you generate.
Yeah, I forget who said it, and
because Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence said all men are created equal.
Created equal.
Right.
Yes.
We are all created equal.
Yes.
But we don't go through life equal in terms of what we deserve. What we deserve is a function of what we earn. Correct?
Well, I think what we earn is a bit of an odd way to say it, but I think it's value. It's value. I think a lot of people have this odd notion of self-value, and what value they produce for somebody else. Even with the whole idea of a debt currency, like I get into arguments with people too around this debt currency idea. It's like if you're providing a value to someone else, they're going to pay you for that value. Now, how much value is always a great contention. Yeah, but that's an exchange of value, not something for nothing, which is the promise that the socialists and the communists use as their gateway into power. But that's not the reality of what happens after the fact.
No.
Right? So to have that entitlement mindset where someone thinks they automatically deserve benefits without providing any sort of value, in my eyes is 100% fucking incorrect. There's absolutely no way. And like, not for nothing, man. Like I I'm not exactly the richest man that fucking walks the earth, and I'm quite content with what I get because I understand that I get paid for the value that I put out there. Now, is my self value slightly higher than my competitors? Maybe below, but I honestly truly believe that in a free, open capitalist market, you're going to get paid what you deserve based on what kind of value you're producing. We're saying gratitude mindset. Gratitude mindset is someone that understands that they aren't they're not due anything for nothing, right? So so someone that is in that gratitude mindset is grateful for the opportunities that they have to express their value in exchange for some sort of benefit, whether that's cash or something else. And I think that's the thing that gets lost. A lot of our young students in our socialist school system, they are being taught this entitlement behavior, and I think that's partially to do because the school system post secondary is a for-profit enterprise. Let's be clear, like under taxation, they might fall under nonprofit because they're going to take a bunch of that profit and they're going to spend it on stupidities like stadiums they don't need and other centers they don't really require to do the job that they're supposed to do. And they just do that, in my opinion, in a way to launder fucking money. But the people that are running those institutions, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their fucking heart. They're doing it because they're getting paid and they're getting paid well. You can look at whoever, the board of directors at U of T, the CEOs of all these institutions that are post-secondary, they're not doing it for fucking free. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think for them to convolute the message of saying, oh, if you come to our school and you graduate from this program, you are entitled to these benefits is a load of horse shit that they should not be spewing. And I think that that's a big problem with our current society today. Students are being told that they are entitled to something because of their education, which is in fact not true.
No.
And the data actually shows that our forefathers who've learned by doing rather than studying actually have an increased efficiency doing the same exact work. So as they're being replaced by students of school, their efficiency and therefore their value is lower than their predecessors who learned, climbing the ranks and doing it the hard way, so to speak.
So the truth of the matter is that a man with a gratitude mindset is grateful for his opportunities.
Yes.
And he does not expect to be handed opportunities, right? He goes out there and finds a way to create or uncover opportunity. And then he shows gratitude for them and he acts. Yeah. While an entitled person sits there whining, complaining because of their neuroses and their insecurities. And as a result of these neuroses and insecurities, they don't actually show any gratitude. So opportunities don't come their way and they become part of the problem in a free Western society. And let's be honest with everybody here. There is going to be a time where the productive classes are going to stop giving a crap about what the entitled classes think.
Yeah.
And when that happens,
I think it's even worse.
If that happens, there's going to be a cold civil war, which I think is already in place.
Underway. Mm-hmm.
And at some point it could turn hot. The problem that these socialist entitled types don't understand is that the capable classes will kick the crap out of them if the civil war ever goes hot. Because most of them are the ones who, first of all, have weaponry, right? Secondly, know how to use it. And thirdly, if they get to the point where they think, okay, the only way this is going to go our way is for this to go hot, man, they're going to fight to win. They're going to be grateful for the opportunity to fight to win. While the entitled classes are going to wind their way to defeat. So to me, the entitled socialist Marxist classes are on their way to defeating oblivion, perhaps even
You know,
destruction.
it,
Really,
it's an
not
interesting
physical
concept, right?
destruction, at least mental and emotional destruction. What are your thoughts on that, Art?
Yeah. So, you propose a very, very interesting outlook. That's not exactly what I'm seeing. And let's look at, let's look at what's going on in today's world, right? Where with China and Russia as, what we can consider as China is probably the best example of the epitome of what a loosened version of communism, closest to socialism could possibly be. But we can also see that, if you remove the Hong Kong portion of that equation out, nobody emigrates to China.
No one.
Like no. People will, like, yes, because they're open. Westerners and others will try and do business with them.
Yep.
And maybe there's some that are there for a portion because of that business that they do with them, but nobody goes to China for looking for a better life. You know what I mean? But then when you look at the flip side now, let's look at someone like Javier Milei, who I'm a fan of,
Huge.
who's gone out and openly said, like the stats are out there, having a free and open market with the least amount of government intervention pulls more people out of poverty into the middle class and into the upper class than any other system out there. And he was fighting to open up Argentina's market. Who is ideally, what he's doing is saying to everyone in the world, as countries like ours is trying to cage wealth in the country, he's looking to attract wealth and investment. Right now, let's look at, like, say, the state of California versus the state of Texas, where California is kind of doing the exact same thing Canada's doing, where they're trying to entrap their wealth because it's been driven from them out to a state like Texas.
Yeah.
Right. And states like Texas, same thing with New York. New York is trying to do the same thing. They just elected Mandami there, who's
He's an idiot.
well, he's a communist, right? He's a communist in socialist clothing, which is really what it all is.
He is a communist. He's a ridiculous idiot of a communist.
But he pulled off the exact, communist move where the promise of these socialized programs with, government-owned grocery stores and whatever. And then it's turned out that, that's not exactly what he's doing, because the utopian view that they promised does not fucking exist. Right? Like it's a marketed lie to convince, people who may be having a rough go at it, or is acting out of pure jealousy and spite. And that's really what entitlement is, right? Like it's a very jealous entitlement, jealousy that leads to entitlement, right? Where one person sees what the fruits of another person's labors may be, and they're like, why can't I have that? And they don't have the skill set to provide the value for someone to earn that and be grateful for it, so they want to take it by force.
So communism is driven by jealousy and envy, while capitalism is driven by, I would say, enthusiasm and possibility.
Well, I think it's like meritocracy, right? It's he who provides the most.
No, we already said that.
value,
But
right?
I'm talking about what is the emotional underpinning of this. The emotional underpinning of communism is jealousy and envy. Period.
Yeah, I think so.
Jealousy and envy. The emotional underpinning of free market capitalism is excitement, enthusiasm, possibility. There's no jealousy. There's no envy. There's lots of excitement and also gratitude.
Yeah, well, gratitude. Yeah, I have not met an individual who is out there seeking opportunity, and when they achieve that, they're not grateful for the outcome that they've got. And we see this, like, in the trades. You can see this quite a bit, and you can tell the difference between the person that owns and operates that business versus employees that are just working in it, there's a different sense of gratitude. Right, where the employer knows, like, if when you're working contract to contract, the next contract is never guaranteed in a timely fashion. So they're grateful for that. But it does come with its benefits, right? All risk comes with benefits, higher risk, higher benefit.
Yeah.
But where someone that's just an employee and punching a clock, there's always an entitlement and expectation of certain, hours, pay, and whatever. And regardless of sometimes of their performance, if they've had a real high, entitlement attitude, like if you go to Walmart, I'm sure you'll find a bunch of their employees, they have this entitlement attitude where they think they're or they feel, because it's not logical, they feel they're worth more than what they actually are willing to produce. And they usually go under the lie of, well, I'll do more if you pay me more up front. And it's like, yeah, that's not always how it goes.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
That's not. So what can a man who's listening to this do to be more grateful and less entitled?
More grateful and less entitled. That's a good question. Because that's almost like a whole state of being change. Now that you asked the question, man, that thoughts come up. Like, how many times have I stood around a circle and I hear some of the men getting into the entitlement behavior, and this whole discussion of the entitlement comes up, and it's like, look, man, instead of being an entitled brat, be grateful for the opportunity, right? Because no employee has the right to do a half-assed job. You're hired to do that, and it's like everyone's like needs to embrace the give it your best or stretch your best.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, because unless you're exceeding expectation, you really don't have the grounds to ask or demand for more. I forget who said it. Someone is, or what, I think it was an old IBM mantra from back in the 70s and 80s was to only promise 10% and always look to over deliver, as if every client was the last and there was nothing else left after. Like that's a good, quality to possess. Always try to over deliver on what you promised. Entitlement.
Grateful people over deliver. So to be more grateful, you got to have an over deliver mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. To be an always look, whatever the agreement your employer gives you, take that as your bare minimum standard of operating. And if you're going to do the bare minimum, expect the bare minimum. And I get it. There are, people will say, well, I've done X, Y, I've done more, I've done this, and my employer's taken advantage of me, blah, 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 blah. But that's a very small picture. This is your experience only, where you need to balance and take a look at now. Is it possible that the company cannot afford to pay more? If you're doing such a great job and if that employer is not treating you well, then why stay there? Go look for other employment.
Look for other yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I've come across that have this mentality where they won't leave the position they're in. They're going to sit there and wait until they're fired. And it's such an odd way of being.
That's an entitlement mentality.
Very, very entitled, right? You think you're worth more, so you're going to do less until you're terminated, which makes that's not a
0 cents.
But that's why people earn the least amount of money that they earn. Most employers, believe it or not, for people that aren't employed that are listening to this, an employer's expectation of you doing your job is at a 50% level. If you do half the job you're supposed to do, they will drag your employment out indefinitely. If you do more and you threaten to leave, 75% more, they might entertain it. You do 100% more, like they're going to do whatever they can to keep you. But if you're doing 50% or less and you threaten to leave, they're not going to care.
Yeah, they're going to kick your ass out.
Yeah, I've got employees in my organization right now that are 50 percenters or less. But they're smart enough to know that if they threaten to leave, that I just tell them to walk. So they haven't done that, but we'll be actively looking to replace some of them, this spring. Yeah,
It's facts. It's facts.
well, yeah. At the end of the day, as the employer, I have to look out for what's best for everyone and their families, and not just one individual and their own circumstances. I need to make sure our company is profitable, for the longevity for everybody involved. And that's not just a single employee. That's 9 of them, their families, my suppliers, their families. Like everyone's, got a stake in our business to succeed. So I can't make, full business decisions based on one person. That's not going to happen. It's not going to work in their favor. But someone that's grateful and expresses gratitude, they'll go above and beyond to do their job. They'll be happy to do their job. They'll be happy to earn what they earn. And and if someone did that job that well, and came to me and asked me, can you afford to pay me a little more? I would do everything I could to ensure that they remain happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
I think another thing too with the entitlement versus the gratitude thing.
Yeah.
I find that people who have an entitled mentality are often not spiritual people.
Yeah. Entitled
People-
men are not
Not spiritual at all. They're very
not only that, they don't believe in God.
yeah. It's crazy. But even science doesn't guarantee.
So they are atheists.
Yeah, they're weird people. They are odd people. I've never met.
They are weird and odd.
Like I've met some religious people that are not nice, but I've never met a religious person that wasn't grateful to some extent for what they have.
You are spitting facts, Arp. You are spitting facts. This is 1,000% correct.
Yeah,
1,000% correct.
yeah. So my advice to anyone that's out there, enter into the workplace with a great, having that mindset of being grateful, that gratitude mindset.
But this is more than about just the workplace, okay? This is about life.
This is life
as a whole, right? Because it's
Well, as
you're in a relationship with somebody, and as a man, you can't be some entitled little punk. You're going to lose that friendship. You're going to lose that relationship. It's over. You got to be grateful you're in the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? If you're friends with somebody, you can't be entitled to that friendship. You got to be grateful that you're friends with that person. And I'm grateful you and I are friends. I'm fucking super grateful.
All the time.
I'm grateful that you and I work together in Sovereign Man. I'm 1,000% grateful. Like every freaking day, I'm like, fuck, pinch me, man. I'm not doing this all by myself. I got Arpa helping me out. I'm so grateful.
And a few others,
Yeah, and a few others too, for sure.
And a few others.
Look, it started with you and me. And as we were going through this, we thought, you know what? We're going to need to grow other leaders, and we're going to need help. And the more people we brought into leadership, easier things got for us, right? There was less shit that we had to do because many hands make for light work.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That's the truth in any endeavor. And I think in terms of many hands making for light work, maybe the process at which a task is accomplished wouldn't be the same way you do it. Or maybe the outcome isn't as good as someone, as you would do it, but at least it gets done to its level of competency until you find, the individuals that will, exceed expectations. It's happened to us before where someone's done something slightly different, but the results were better.
Amen.
It happens all the time.
Happens all the freaking time.
But I think
people need to understand that, right? They really do.
Yeah, I think if there's takeaways, I think men should take away, drop the entitlement. No one's entitled to shit. And I don't remember if it was Jordan Peterson that said it or who said it, but one of them had said, like, when it comes to equality and socialism, everyone's out there. They're fighting for equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity.
And that's nuts.
And that's crazy. because to think that every person has the exact same skill set to produce the exact same results is absolutely ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Yeah.
I know how to skate, but I'm not great at fucking hockey. So I don't expect to get NHL player style wages and whatever they get. I don't expect that at all. But I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have doing the work that I do. And I'm happy about that. And,
You should be.
beyond being grateful, men that are out there, you should have a giver's mentality. Back in my old BNI days, I used to say giver's gain because
Giver's gain.
the gentleman wrote a book on that because he's the person that did the whole BNI thing. But, in our circles, we talk about the what's it called? The account there. The other words escapes me, Billou. Help me out here. It was part of our leadership training there.
Explain what you're telling me, and then I'll be able to say, because I'm not sure.
The account. So doing things for others allows you to make deposits into an
Trust account.
Trust account. There we go. The trust account. So everyone should understand that there's that trust account, and there's ways to make small deposits and large deposits. All of them require giving. So if you're going into a relationship, understand that relationship's going to have a trust account that you need to make regular deposits in. So if you turn it around, and if it doesn't have to be a significant other, it could be your friend, a friendship of sorts. And if you're not making deposits, you can't make withdrawals. And the unfortunate part is, unlike today's bank where, if they hold your cash, you make some kind of, interest on that investment. That generally doesn't happen with trust accounts. Withdrawals cost a lot more than the deposits do. But regardless of the fact, if you're making deposits, through small deposits could be things like showing up to events, where larger deposits are like giving your best to what you do. Everyone loves, likes it when someone goes above and beyond what they promise. Those are larger deposits, and then you can draw from that. It's worked for me in my life. I've been able to accomplish quite a few things by building trust and drawing on it.
Yeah.
So that's things to understand. Be grateful for everything you have. Seek out to do the best and make the largest deposits possible. And then when the time comes, be grateful when you pull that withdrawal, because you're not entitled to that withdrawal. You put the work in, sure, but there's no entitlement around that.
No entitlement to anything.
No, you're not entitled to
anything.
No, but you should be. But when you make the ask and the other party agrees and shows up, be grateful. Be happy.
Yeah,
it's a much way better way of to live life in gratitude rather than entitlement. Because entitlement always leads you down a suckhole of hate, anger, and jealousy, where being grateful, leads to, happiness and contentment. And what else would someone else want to be? Why wouldn't you want to be happy and content?
Not a thing. Not a thing. A man is going to win in life when he's grateful and he's happy and he's content, and he's going to lose in life when he's angry, jealous, and entitled.
Angry.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a person who's created a lot of wealth that was angry or entitled? I've never.
Not one person.
They're always grateful for everything. Even when they're paying me for doing labor, they're always grateful.
They really are.
Yeah,
they really are.
So it's a
beautiful thing.
It's a much way better way of being grateful.
Yeah, great episode, Art. Thanks very much.
Yeah, anytime. Did we hit all the points that you wanted to get?
Yeah, this topic was well looked over, and we really gave it a strong level of analysis, and we explained the difference between gratitude and entitlement very powerfully. And we gave men a really good question to ask themselves, which is, how can I be more grateful and less entitled in life?
Yeah.
And if every man wakes up every day and asks that question of himself and spends just a minute thinking about it,
just a minute, man,
he'll come up with some good answers that will help him have a better day.
Yeah.
And that's what we aim to do on the Sovereign Podcast.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Sovereign Man Podcast. If you're ready to take charge of your life and become the man you've always wanted to be, we invite you to join the movement at sovereignman.ca.